Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. Happy Monday. I hope you're all doing really well to start this week. I will say that as I was getting ready to record for this reading, I felt a lot of really heavy energies coming through, and intuitively, I feel that some of this heaviness is going to be connected to a divine feminine who is really holding the frequency for a lot of individuals around her. Now, when I talk about holding the frequency, essentially, I am talking about the fact that this particular divine feminine is a very powerful light worker, meaning that much of her journey here on earth, and although I'm using the pronoun she, her for the divine feminine here just for ease of reference in the reading, do keep in mind that these labels, divine feminine or divine masculine, can connect with either gender. And they can even connect internally to the divine feminine and divine masculine dynamic that we each have within. But anyway, this specific divine feminine is a very powerful light worker, but often this light work that she is doing looks very messy on the surface, not just at times to other people who misunderstand her, but also even to her own self. So if this specific portion of this reading is for you and you've been feeling a lot of raw emotions, maybe there's been some messiness coming up within you or in your life or in your circumstances in some way, know that there is a divine reason that all of this is occurring, because you are shifting out some very heavy, very dense energies. Essentially, you are transmuting this heaviness, this shadow, into light energy. And that process can often look very messy on the surface. Specifically, you might be feeling certain things without knowing why, physically, emotionally. There might be circumstances of your life occurring where things just don't make sense, or consciously you can't connect the dots as to why you are feeling or experiencing certain things at this moment in time. And know that if that is you, this is because all of this energetic shifting work that you are doing is happening subconsciously or behind the scenes. So you may not necessarily be consciously aware of all of the deep patterns and programs and parts of the collective shadow that you are actually shifting out through this, what might be labeled as messiness, or the rawness of some of the emotions coming to the surface at this time. Now, I know that some of this channeling is going to be so specific to maybe even just one divine feminine out there listening, but I really wanted to deliver this message for you to let you know that you are right on track, that nothing is going wrong, even if some of the circumstances of your life or some of what is coming up is making you consciously wonder at times if things are going wrong. You are on the right track here. And again, everything that is occurring, whether it's in your physical body, in your emotional world, in your life generally, it's happening for a higher purpose and reason at this time. And often your conscious mind at this point in your soul's evolution is really not going to be able to consciously connect those dots, because so much of this light work, of this energy work that you are doing is quite literally incomprehensible at that conscious logical level of the mind. So I'm going to go ahead and start shuffling some of the cards here. If you are new to the channel, then welcome. Thank you for tuning in. We are all co-creators here, so know that simply by being present with the reading, by sharing your unique energy and frequency here, you are actively co-creating and co-manifesting all of the messages that come through the reading. And I so appreciate all of you who are here co-creating along with me, part of our beautiful soul family on YouTube. I am sending you all huge amounts of love energy today. I hope that through these readings, I can help you to feel more loved and seen and supported along your journey, whatever that journey looks like for you specifically, because of course, we all do have different purposes and specific paths in this world and in this incarnation, and only your intuition within you can guide you accurately when it comes to your own path. So my only goal with these readings and with these messages is to potentially more consciously connect you with what you already know, with what your intuition is already speaking to you. So only take the messages that do connect with that intuitive place within yourself. And of course, leave everything else here in the reading. But the very first card we have from the Work Your Light Oracle is the Ever Unfolding Rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. Now, right away, I'm picking up on the synchronicity, the parallels between this card and the download that came out at the beginning of the reading, because I'm very much picking up on a divine feminine who is feeling cracked open at this time. And I'm hearing that whatever you're going through right now is actually an activation to a higher level, energetically, vibrationally, emotionally, that's going to correspond with a higher vibrational, manifested physical reality. It's like what feels to you like a breakdown in this moment is actually spiritually a leveling up. It's almost as though the way that you are feeling is the opposite of what's actually taking place in the spiritual realm. So what I mean is you might be feeling broken down. You might be feeling certain old issues resurfacing for you, certain fears coming up, certain heavy emotions passing through. But from a higher spiritual perspective, you are actually being profoundly activated. You are being cracked open to be able to carry more light and therefore sustain a higher frequency that will naturally align you with a higher vibration that corresponds with a manifested reality that will contain more of those soul intentions embodied in physical form. I am really feeling guided to read from the Oracle guidebook here, just because this card feels very potent. I feel as though there is so much energy here and more messages for us here from the guidebook. So let's see what the guidebook has to say here. The challenge of life is to keep your heart open when you most want to close it, to let life crack you open, to open through hurt and loss, to allow what is falling away to fall away. Being human is a courageous act. A life well lived is full of losses as well as triumphs and adventures. Wherever you find yourself in the moment, life is coaxing you to keep your heart open, to continually unfold, to let life crack you open. Treat yourself gently. So that feels like a really lovely message of encouragement for someone really going through the intensity of that so-called cracked open experience at the moment. And if that is something that you're going through, know that you are not alone. And that I'm also getting you are healing through or shifting out certain very deeply entrenched patterns or dynamics or energies that most people keep consciously blocked off or closed off because they would be too intense to process out. So you may have certain people around you who are not willing to face the kinds of shadows within themselves that you are facing, who are not willing to feel to the degree that you are feeling. And more than likely, you are someone who has been labeled emotional or sensitive, or even too emotional or too sensitive by people around you, possibly even from a young age. But know that your sensitivity, your ability to sense and to feel, to interpret and to transmute energy is actually the most beautiful gift that you are bringing to the earth at this time. It's not a weakness, as many people may have tried to convince you that it was. So with all of that being said, I am going to go ahead and shuffle the traditional tarot cards. So I want to know what the beautiful divine feminines listening here need to know, since we do seem to be dominantly addressing a specific collective of divine feminines here. And we have the King of Cups card. So I'm very much picking up on a masculine or divine masculine energy. This is someone who I'm hearing things might be seemingly at a standstill with. They almost are looking frozen in time to me. Almost as though in the physical world with this particular masculine, things may look very stagnant, and yet this feels like a very fixed masculine energy, as though they, in this apparent stagnancy, are actually very focused on you. And in a very exclusive manner, I'm just picking up a very calm, stable, exclusive kind of energy from this masculine, meaning they are very focused on you, divine feminine. They really aren't entertaining any other options. Now, I am getting that for some of you, this message actually might apply to your internal divine masculine. So you may have done work on yourself internally in balancing your divine masculine and divine feminine energies so that you are really watering your garden, really giving more to your own self, nurturing yourself more actively and consciously than ever before, so that you are giving this kind of fixed, focused, what we're calling a masculine energy here, but to yourself. You're being very consistent with yourself, with your self-care. The word listening is coming out. So whether this is applying to what you are giving yourself internally or what this external masculine is giving you, this is an energy that listens to you, and they might even be very quiet while they are listening, almost as though they are contemplative. But know that everything you say, this person takes into account, that they are a very active listener. They also are striking me as someone who might describe themselves as not being very good with their words. So they may feel as though sometimes they don't know the exact right things to say. This is someone who's very clear internally regarding how strongly they are feeling for you emotionally, but they may not always know how to verbally express those emotions. This is definitely not that kind of smooth talker energy. It's very the opposite. Someone who is, yes, a good listener, very focused on you, feeling a lot of emotions they're consciously aware of for you, but not very good with their words, or at least that's how they are perceiving themselves. Okay, so with man holding a coin, know that even if this is someone who is appearing to be stagnant, in this stagnancy, they themselves are being activated. They are going through a very intense awakening. I'm getting that whereas you, divine feminine, have been a very conscious light worker, so you have been on this conscious path of spiritual awakening where most likely you've been exploring spiritual ideas, materials. You have the words, the language to describe a lot of what you've been going through spiritually and energetically. But this specific masculine is, yes, going through a powerful activation and awakening, but they've also been an unconscious light worker for some time, meaning their presence brings a lot of light energy to the planet and to people around them. They have a really powerful uplifting effect on others. The word alien is coming out, so they also feel very alien from others. They feel very different at the core from the people around them. This is part of them being this light worker that they are. But again, the thing about this masculine as opposed to you is that they have been doing this unconsciously. So they've always felt different from the people around them, but never really known how to describe that experience in what we think of as spiritual terms. They're also someone that people tend to gravitate towards for advice, for support, even just to be around them or in their presence. And again, this masculine has never really consciously known why, but it's because they've unconsciously been a light worker. Now, I'm picking up that there might be a very rare few of you listening to this reading who might actually resonate more so with your divine masculine polarity. Again, this will only connect with a few individuals, but it may be that you resonate with being a divine masculine and you've been this unconscious light worker, and maybe you've begun to connect with videos like this from myself or other creators on YouTube or other platforms without really knowing why it's coming across your feed. And this can be because the universe is trying to give you information about your spiritual path here on earth in a more conscious way to help ease the process. Because I am getting, especially if you are that masculine listening, this has been so intense for you, feeling so deeply misunderstood by people around you, and yet noticing that people do tend to gravitate towards you. So again, that was just a little bit of a side message for the very few divine masculines who might align with this video. But for the most part, many of the masculines connected to the divine feminines listening here will not be consciously aware of their own spiritual path or transformations. They may have noticed weird glitches in their life or weird issues coming up, things not quite working, whether that's in the workplace, financially, in their relationships, in their physical body, and they may not have known really why. But this is because of again, the fact that they've been this unconscious light worker going through an ascension process themselves and not even realizing that all of this is occurring. So, okay, what else can I channel here? We have the heart chakra card. So this masculine is being sent deep within their heart space. My guides are actually calling this a journey of the heart, meaning they are being so heavily pushed into their emotions. I'm so clearly hearing a masculine say, I've never felt this emotional before. They might find themselves crying out of the blue or just suddenly feeling really emotional out of nowhere. And divine feminine, if you in general have felt pretty emotionally and energetically balanced, and then all of a sudden you felt hit with this wave of grief or sadness or this intense emotion, know that this actually may have been a product of energetic transference, meaning that because of the amount of focus and attention this masculine is consciously giving you. And in addition to that, for many of you, there may be a soul bond here as well. I will let you know if that comes up in the cards, but especially if there's a soul connection, that would only strengthen the energetic bond between the two of you that allows for that kind of energetic transference that can sometimes be felt in the form of sudden, spontaneous emotions that seem to hit out of nowhere and actually could be you feeling some of what this masculine is going through. In fact, for some of you, if you've been connected to this specific masculine for a while in this lifetime, you actually, without knowing it, may have processed a lot of his emotional healing work through your own emotional body and your own conscious experience of those emotions. So even prior to the two of you meeting in this life, for example, or even if you were disconnected or separated for periods of time, depending on the circumstances, if this masculine went through a grief, a loss, or a heartbreak, or just something that affected them emotionally, that in a sense wounded their heart space, and they tried to repress it, you would be the one to feel it because you were the one more consciously spiritual, more consciously focusing on your inner work. So you actually may have processed out and might still be processing some of the grief, some of the loss, some of the heavy emotions and the feelings that this masculine themselves had tried to repress. Now, I am getting that at this point in time, that repression is no longer occurring. So you might still be feeling some of those emotions, but this masculine themselves are no longer repressing whatever is coming up for them emotionally. I'm hearing that they can't repress it because the wall has been broken down. It's almost like if you think of these emotions as a powerful river and their repression as this dam that used to block off the river. Well, the river, the emotions got so strong, it broke through that wall, it broke through the dam. And so it's no longer there. Now that they've felt so intensely for you, I'm getting a lot of this emotion has been around you specifically, Divine Feminine. And now that they've felt it, there's no going back. There's no way for them to put that wall back up again. Everything is really just flowing. And I have to say that for some of these masculines, I mentioned this earlier, but they've literally found themselves outpouring these emotions when they're alone, or crying or tearing up when they find themselves thinking about you, or maybe even just randomly for no real apparent cause. And this has been a really rattling experience for this masculine because in the past, again, they were someone who did really repress these emotions. They may have been someone who even their friends would say that nothing really affected them, or they seemed very stoic, or maybe they were even told by others that they were emotionless or didn't really seem to have emotions. They may have repressed for so long in some cases. This won't be for everyone, but for some of these masculines, they repressed their emotions so much in the past. They wondered if something was wrong with them mentally or emotionally that was blocking them from being able to experience emotions in the way that other people experience emotions. But that wasn't the case. It was that they had built up such a high wall of repression. And I feel like you've swung into their life or their consciousness or re-entered their life in some way, depending on your situation, for the purpose of entirely crashing through that wall of repression and opening up their heart again and softening their heart space, and in doing so actually raising their vibration to a higher level and making their spiritual transformation that they've been going through for a long time much more conscious. There's a part of them feeling very unprepared for becoming so conscious of an experience to them that has been so unconscious for such a long time, whether that's their spiritual work in general, their spiritual path in general, or whether even more specifically, that's them suddenly becoming more conscious of what they've been feeling for you, Divine Feminine. So again, always take these messages as they do resonate for you personally. I am reshuffling the traditional tarot cards, and I want to know what else is happening here. Yeah, this is someone who in the past with the Page of Swords reversed was considered to be a bit emotionally cold or not really concerned with the feelings of others. In fact, if they were in romantic relationships in the past, other feminines this masculine connected with may have thought of them as emotionally cold or closed off. But with the Six of Swords, there's been a powerful transition here where they can't run away any longer, where this healing, this opening of their energy has naturally been taking place. And it's really reaching a tipping point here. Now, a lot of the emotions coming in at the moment with the Four of Cups upright are around regret, feeling regret for missed opportunities, feeling as though they were focused on or prioritizing what now feel to be the wrong things in the past, whether that's in their life, in love, or in the connection with you. Now, this masculine is in very much a daydreaming state at the moment. So they may spend a lot of time, and I just dropped so many cards on the floor here, which tells me that there's a lot on this masculine's mind, especially when they're alone with themselves, especially when they're in this kind of dreamy, almost like a fantasizing energy. Something about the connection with you doesn't feel to this masculine as though it's quite grounded or realistic or fully focused yet in the physical world. But it's what their heart is so fixated on and so desperately desires that it's put them at this point where they would rather fantasize and daydream about you than attempt to connect with another feminine energy. That's what I'm getting so strongly here. I'm hearing that this is a masculine who may have energetically put you on hold for some time. Now, of course, I always say that you are the all-powerful, limitless creator and manifester of your life experience here on earth. And you can create, manifest, or align with anything you desire in life or in love. So I never recommend putting yourself on hold for someone if that feels off to you or that feels contrary to your own intuition. But I am speaking to a specific divine feminine who has found that there's been these blockages or obstacles when it comes to connecting with certain other masculine energies. And this may be because this masculine, in a sense, was putting you on hold energetically, meaning they were fantasizing, daydreaming, thinking about you so heavily that it would pull on you in such a way, maybe even especially in such a way when you were getting close to really fully locking in or solidifying a specific romantic timeline with someone new. It's almost like right when you would begin to fully solidify that timeline with a new masculine, this masculine's higher self or their energy would come in and create some kind of blockage or obstacle and pull on you in such a way that you would find yourself going back emotionally to this connection, or at the least just feeling suddenly and unexplainably disconnected from that new person that you almost began to fully lock things in with in the physical. Now, again, I'm not advocating for intentionally blocking off your options or going contrary to your intuition, putting yourself on hold, waiting around, anything like that. I'm just speaking to a divine feminine who's had this very strange experience of this occurring in love and not really understanding why you would go to lock in a connection with a new person and then suddenly feel intuitively like things were very off or very wrong in that connection. Or again, blockages would come up. Maybe that person would even suddenly disconnect. And it was almost as though this masculine's higher self was not wanting you to lock yourself in or to tether yourself in to a timeline with another romantic option that might prevent the two of you in at least his mind, from coming together at some point in the future and aligning on your own timeline together. Now, again, take that only if it connects for you intuitively. That does feel like a very delicate and specific message. It might only connect with one or two people listening, but I did want to bring it through for whoever needs to hear it. Now, if this reading in general is bringing up some feelings of resonance for you, if it's been beneficial to you and you'd like to go deeper with more details, pieces of information, I will be channeling more on this in the extended version of the reading. The extended readings are always available in our beautiful soul tribe on Patreon. I do channel extended readings along with these collective readings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the link to that extended Patreon reading with more information from this reading is in the pinned comment and description box underneath the video. For now, I'm going to go ahead and close this first reading here on YouTube with one final Rumi Oracle card. So what is one final card to close out the reading today? We have Divine Mother Manifests. So I'm just going to be reading a little bit from the guidebook here. And the guidebook says, "O you living in the world of 6 directions, accept the gloom and accept the bliss, for seeds buried in the ground will one day grow into fruitful orchards." Rumi. This oracle comes to you via the sacred grace and mercy of the Divine Mother, who is the great manifesting expression of divinity. All that is created, all that is made manifest without exception flows from her being. This is why it is safe to trust in life, even most especially the inexplicable mystery and even the darkness that may give rise to fear and judgment within us. It is all part of her unfathomable workings. What a relief to not need to understand. What a relief to simply live with trust and know that everything will work its way out. You are being asked to receive this gift completely and utterly. No matter whether or not things appear to be working out, they are. You are being held in loving protection to keep you from straying from your highest path and divine destiny. There is work here for you to do upon this planet in your own unique way. So that feels like a perfect place to close the reading. If you would like more information, more messages from the masculine that came out, what they may be thinking or feeling towards you at this time, as well as more information on anyone or anything that might be connecting with your energy or thinking or feeling heavily about you at this time, the link to all of that is in the pinned comment and description box under this video. Otherwise, I hope you have a really wonderful start to your week. Thank you again for tuning in and sharing your own uniquely beautiful energy with this virtual space here on YouTube. And I will connect with you here again in Wednesday's reading.